Well, now let's turn to the Trump effect. It is November, and that means the 2020 election is a year away, and the official kickoff to the voting season, also known as the Iowa caucuses, are just 3 months away. And hanging over the president, the House impeachment inquiry, which is historic. Only 3 other presidents have ever undergone similar proceedings, and analysts are struggling to gauge how it might impact the presidential race because there's barely any previous experience to compare it to. For his part, President Trump doesn't publicly seem too worried.
Now, corrupt politicians, Nancy Pelosi and shifty Adam Schiff, and the crooked media have launched the deranged, delusional, destructive, and hyper-partisan impeachment witch hunt. Now we go again.
So how will all this play out in 2020? Let's bring in David Katz, political and legal strategist, and joining me on set tonight, John Loudon, political strategist and former Republican state senator in Missouri. Welcome to you both. John, first I want to get your take here on the news that businessman Michael Bloomberg could be entering the race here. It's a real shot in the 2020 field of candidates.
Well, it certainly mixes it up.
Yeah,
absolutely. Here we thought we'd kind of have that little bit wacky Elizabeth Warren, and now we get Michael Bloomberg, who's
is he wacky too, or what?
He's less wacky if unless you like your big soft drinks in a 32-ounce cup, then you don't want Bloomberg.
Yeah, his war on soft drinks got a lot of ink a few years ago for sure. David Katz, how about it? Michael Bloomberg in the 2020 race for president?
Well, Bloomberg was very popular in New York as mayor, but I think that Biden has the real chance to win. I think that's why Giuliani and Trump tried to do everything they could to sabotage and cook up a phony investigation in Ukraine on Biden because they are so worried about him as a formidable opponent. You know, it'll be the restoration of Obama, Biden. It'll be unbelievably popular, and it'll run very well in the swing states against Trump.
Perfect segue into impeachment there. So John, should President Trump be worried, especially with the start of public hearings next week on impeachment?
I don't think so at all. You know, the Democrats, I mean, let's be frank. The Democrats came into this cycle before the president was even inaugurated. They had a document, the impeach Trump resolution, and they just needed to fill in the blank with whatever they could come up with. They tried bimbos, they tried Russia, they tried collusion, they tried...
But the other side of that is, I mean, there's been talk and a lot of evidence pointing to a quid pro quo by the president in this phone call to Ukraine.
The whole premise of that quid pro quo is a house of cards. It assumes that Joe Biden is, in fact, Trump's opponent. Biden is not Trump's opponent. Factually, Biden is a candidate for the Democrat primary and one with a really bad track record. It doesn't matter where he's polling now. The election's a year away. Biden doesn't win Democrat primaries, and he's sure not going to win this one. Next year is a year of the woman. It's the 100th anniversary of women's suffrage. The Democratic Party is not going to let an old white guy lead the ticket in 2020.
So, David Katz, how about it? I mean, are we making too much of this Ukraine phone call that's the nucleus of this impeachment effort?
Well, Biden is not an old white guy. He's a winning guy who happens to be white. He'll probably run with a female vice presidential candidate. Regarding all of those claims against Trump, all of them seem to have been borne out. He was paying porn stars with campaign funds. That was a violation. The Southern District of New York said it was. I mean, the fact that the Mueller report was so voluminous and had so many goods against Trump that it didn't resonate enough with people. This current scandal will resonate because it's very easy to understand. A president can ask for a lot of things politically for the nation's good from another country. What a president has never asked for, and the reason Trump's being impeached is because he wanted a personal political favor. And all of the Republicans, and I know lots of them, are outraged by what Trump did. This is not the correct thing to do. If Obama had done this, they would be running through the streets screaming and yelling. It would be worse than that clique that stormed the House meeting. They'd be running around, and the reality is this is reprehensible, this is impeachable. I worked with Adam Schiff in the U.S. Attorney's Office under a Republican Reagan administration. This is not left, it's not right, it's not Republican, it's not Democrat, it's wrong. It's an abuse of power. There'll be another Republican president who'll be honest and straightforward. It won't be Trump. Trump is bad business, and he should be removed from office. And that's what Schiff's investigation is going to show. And that's what I believe the Senate is ultimately going to decide. I believe the Senate is ultimately going to rule. Even the Republicans, they're men of honor, they're women of honor,
David,
and I believe they'll do the right thing when they see the televised hearings.
Let's get John in here, though. I mean, obviously, you disagree with this. I mean,
it's ridiculous.
But it can't be so ridiculous that we've got impeachment hearings going on. I mean, they're not coming out of nowhere. There's a big effort underway to at least get to the bottom of what was said and how it was said in the Ukraine phone call.
You're the vice president of the United States. You take your son to our enemies, China and Putin-controlled Ukraine. And those are the contracts you got for your son. Putin-controlled gas company in the Ukraine. So it would be an absolute criminal dereliction of duty for the president not to investigate that. That's what's so absurd about this whole thing.
Well, that's ridiculous. Trump had no interest in corruption of anyone else except by Biden. Trump has no interest in rooting out corruption worldwide. He has no interest in rooting out his own corruption. He's the most corrupt president we've ever had, Trump. Oh, come on. You should know better. You may be a Republican, but Trump is bad news.
David, though, isn't there a real worry, at least for Nancy Pelosi and some other Democrats, that all this could just galvanize President Trump's base and get him reelected?
We're galvanized.
Well, I suppose it could also be sort of mutually assured destruction. Trump could go down, but he could also drag Biden down. By the same token, he seems to want to drag Pence down. He keeps saying, Trump does, look at Pence, like, God forbid, Pence should be the president. That's the succession. It doesn't go to Pelosi. It doesn't go to the Democrats. If he's impeached and removed by the senators, then Pence would be the president. Yeah. And we would deal with that. If it's a campaign between Pence and Biden, they'll make their arguments. Maybe your other guest is right. Maybe there is something on Biden, but that's not the point. The point is that they wanted our foreign ally to gin up something against Biden.
That's
what it's all about. That's why those people in uniform, the people in uniform are showing up. Not me, not your other guest. Men in uniform who won the Purple Heart and said, I witnessed that phone call. I witnessed that corrupt phone call.
David, we're going to have to leave it there, unfortunately. Definitely a spirited debate between both of you. We will see what happens. David Katz, John Loudon, thanks for being here on Stateside. Well, coming up.